Namaste, Swagatam to this episode 95 of the AMA. AMA के 95 एपिसोड में आप सभी का स्वागत है. तो बिफोर वी स्टार्ट लेट मी टेल यू हाउ टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस. आप क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं व्हाट्सएप के माध्यम से और सुपर चैट के माध्यम से. यू कैन आस्क क्वेश्चंस आइदर थ्रू व्हाट्सएप और थ्रू सुपर चैट एंड I will answer questions in the language it is asked. Of course, limited to Hindi and English. इसके अलावा मैं और किसी भाषा में आपको उत्तर नहीं दे पाऊंगा. आइए, let's start. On stranger tides. Namaskar, sir. What is the destination of a person who is not initiated by a guru but has devotion towards Lord Vishnu? Well, moksha is everybody's destination. You may have a guru, you may not have a guru. The Bhakti Marg teaches you that you can ascend to the one Paramatma even without a guru if you have the right kind of inclination, devotion, as they say. यावत् सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भावो नोपजायते तावदेवमुपासीत वाङ्मनः कायवृत्तिभिः. तो आइडियल सिचुएशन तो ये है कि दैट यू शुड फाइंड परमात्मा इन एवरी बीइंग एंड दैट इज द स्टोरी एंड दैट इज द गोल ऑफ अ साधक. बट इवन इफ यू नॉट एबल टू डू इट देन you just do it through upasana. वांगमन काय वृत्ति भी है. मनसा वाचा कर्मणा आप करेंगे तो भी you reach the same goal. Next. Rekha Rao, with Ghulam Nabi Azad quitting Congress and starting his own party, what will become of Farooq Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti? Well, I don't know whether you saw my interaction with our friend Javed Iqbal Shah. And what did he say? He said that this man has been the portfolio manager for Abdullahs and Muftis. And that's a role that he will continue to play. Even if he becomes something, I don't think he's going to make much headway. Maybe he'll win a few seats here and there. And that will, of course, be at the cost of the Congress. But beyond that, he will always be playing portfolio managers. Even if he comes and joins hands with BJP, he will only guarantee them that he will be managing Abdullahs and Muftis. So that is the classical role of a pimp that he'll continue to play, as he has played over the last 50 years of his political life. Madhuri Vardhan, will Congress become strong through the Jodi Yatra? Bharat Jodo. Bharat Jodo is not happening. I'm told that they are walking about 6 kilometers per day. And 6 kilometers per day, my God, I've been walking 6 kilometers per day every day. I don't know how long, as long as I can remember. Next. Avinash. Pranam Guruji, I have just started reading R.C. Majumdar, its comprehensive history series this week after his suggestion. My question is why any contemporary historian isn't trying to rewrite a comprehensive history series like that again? Because there have been so many new discoveries. You see, this kind of effort requires a lot of time and it requires a lot of investment. Somebody needs to sponsor it. His series was sponsored by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, that was started at the time of Kanhaiya Maniklal Munshi, and that support continued. So that's how he was able to write it. And all the Marxist histories, the series, they've all been written on the back of government support. So if somebody gets that kind of support, I'm sure somebody would be able to write it. It's not that we lack good historians. And a lot of people are writing of their own. Some pieces of these histories are being written by people of their own volition, of their own accord, like Sandeep Balakrishna, writing that three-part series, Invaders and Infidels, or even Abbas Maldayar. Of course, they are not what is called dyed-in-the-wool historians. They don't have history qualifications. But in that, I don't think these kind of writings require that sort of qualification. Next. Slayer. PP Guruji, sir, can you please explain the story of Ashtavakra and his school of Darshana? Well, Ashtavakra is pure Vedanta. And Vedanta, that story is that he was born with a crooked body, eight bends in the body. That is why I called Ashtavakra. And he attained great knowledge through sadhana. And Raja Janak actually went to him to get all the knowledge that made him Videha, that is detached from his body. So that is the kind of knowledge that Ashtavakra was able to impart to Raja Janak. And Raja Janak himself was able to impart this knowledge to so many people, including Shukadevji. And Ashtavakra Gita, uh, I think one of the treatises on Vedanta, and Ashtavakra Gita is uh, recommended for everyone to read. It's very simple, actually. It's not very difficult. Next. Avinash Pranam Guruji. I don't trust the Karachi Wood anymore. So I have a desire to read the Mahabharata. Which author publication should I go for? Gita Press. I recommend Gita Press to everybody. Please read Gita Press. Next. Here, sir, constitutionally, can the halal agencies be dissolved and individuals be given right to self-certify as halal produce? This can break the halal fiasco. A law can certainly be brought to regulate this activity. There's nothing that prevents people to regulate this activity. That's permitted under law, under the constitution. Whatever they do in this respect would be completely constitutional because they would be doing it on the ground of health and doesn't interfere. Health grounds always prevail over the right to religion. Therefore, I see no difficulty. Only thing that is required is what is required is willpower. Willpower, I don't see anywhere. Next. Abhishek, can you give a specific instance in which Mohandas Gandhi said sorry to Britishers? Oh, of course. He apologized for the Quit India movement. What else? He apologized for the Quit India movement. He regretted. Of course, he made his excuses saying that, okay, it went into violence, this and that, but he regretted. He apologized. That's why when all these congresses, they start shouting about Quit India movement and start accusing people that, okay, they didn't participate in the Quit India movement. All I can do is laugh because Gandhiji himself apologized. Next. There. Sir, an IS officer with KCR government has tweeted the toolkit propaganda about Bilkis Bano and peddling narrative for officers to have freedom of speech while serving. Has the ecosystem permeated every level and how does it maintain the decentralized state? Well, ecosystem has been very, very powerful and it had permeated this, I think, long time back. It had permeated, it was in fact very much in evidence the time I joined the service. And that is way back in the 80s. And right now, if anything, there are signs of this ecosystem getting dismantled in some places, but otherwise the roots remain quite deep. Next. So can China control unions in corporate US oblique EU? Well, I don't think so. Can do so indirectly, but directly, no. I don't think that is possible. But China is definitely controlling the mind space of the campuses. They can control the campuses. They can even control the political parties. That's not difficult. But controlling the union will be very difficult. Abhishek, did Hyderabad Nizam give donations to BHU? Yes, he did. If yes, can you elaborate his deed done against India and Hindus? That he did because uh, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya went and sat there on a dharana. And Hyderabad being 85% Hindu, he could not have ignored that. And Madan Mohan Malviya was no mean personality. He was a very big Congress leader. Therefore, Nizam thought it better to actually give donations to him. Slayer against our SC chided Baba Ramdev for deriding remarks on allopathy in ads of his products. Ayurveda is not like Islam and doesn't need a crutch like academics. Your view, crutch like Abrahamics, your view. Uh, see, it may not need a crutch like the Abrahamics, but it certainly need a crutch of academics in today's world. Anything that you do, you definitely need to have some kind of an academic justification for what you're saying. So, in that sense, I think they were slightly remiss, slightly off the mark. They could have done better. Next, Abhishek. Boycotting Bollywood movie is similar to Prithviraj Chauhan defeating Invader. One loss and you are gone. The strategy must be to make movies with counter narrative. Attack is the best defense. They're being made. They've started making those movies. And we've had successes. What was Kashmir File? The most successful movie of the last 5 years. What if Sanatani block Ravish Anjum YouTube channel? I don't think any Sanatani watches their YouTube channel anyway. So there's very little chance of any blog being successful because they're not watching them anyway. There again. So the new JNU VC was cheered enthusiastically by the IT cell when she came in, but amazed the kind of BS she is spewing now, saying Mahadev and Krishna were SCST and all women are Shudras according to Manusmriti. How do Bapu 2.0 manage to find such gems? Well, nothing is beyond Bapu 2.0. Bapu 2.0 is called Bapu for some reason because Bapu 1.0 was also able to find such gems to the great consternation of the Hindus. Next. Since 1947, hypocrisy of Nehruvian secularism and communism has been clear. These ideas no longer resonate with public. Isn't absence of a meaningful, presentable ideology biggest weakness of the opposition? Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. The hypocrisy is very clear. But the problem with this, the problem opposing this is that this is not uh, one kind of ideology that can be uh, presented against it. So the ideas that come in, they attack various parts of it, and anybody uh, who has the time and the patience needs to put those various parts together. A lot of people have done comprehensive debunking. For instance, people like Rajiv Malhotra have done it. Um, a lot of people are doing it even now. They're doing it separately, they're doing it differently in history. Some are doing it in terms of social sciences. So that's the kind of thing that is happening, and it is coalescing together. as you can see from the response that we get these days to our YouTube episodes. सर, क्या पाकिस्तान में सनातन धर्म बचेगा? वो भी तो सनातनी और सिखों की धरती है। खैबर दर्रा तो हमारा ही था। दोबारा पाने का कोई प्लान? भाई, जिस तरह से, वैसे तो अगर देखा जाए, अगर इसको थ्योरेटिकली देखें, तो 1947 में ही वो दारुल इस्लाम हो गया था। तो दारुल इस्लाम जब वो हो गया, तो उसके बाद आप एक तरह से कह सकते हैं कि वो तो वही उसी समय नहीं बचा था। तो अब जो कुछ भी हम कह रहे हैं, अगर है भी, तो एज जिम्मी, एज सेकंड क्लास। इस्लाम के अलावा बाकी सब सेकंड क्लास है। देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली nothing that has any privilege except Islam under Islamic rule. So in that sense, it was gone the day you partitioned it. And that is why partition was being opposed by people like Savarkar and by Hindu Mahasabha. Chandan Banerjee is BJP promoting Bharat Jodo Yatra. A very good tongue-in-cheek question, Chandan Banerjee. I think if they had done so and they had prompted him to do it, then it would have been a very good idea, sure. Next. Sanjay ji, what is your view on astrology? Do you think astrology plays a role in our lives? If yes, then which astrology has substance? Well, according to me, there are elements of science in astrology, but there's hardly any astrologer who is able to put a finger on it. That's not something that is I can understand that they have. Okay, next. Avinash, Guruji, why isn't the GOI taking active measures against info warfare? What's your prediction for 2024? Less than 303, more than 303? Well, I think government of India is probably making a big mistake and not being proactive. They think it will just go away, but it will not. And they will go below 303. If you have seen our poll analysis of the 2024 elections, then we had predicted, I think, 279. A majority, but a very thin majority. And that is as on today. And one of the main reasons is because of the allies going away, especially JDU going away. And their huge setback that they have got themselves into in West Bengal. So Bihar and Bengal going away means that they're going to lose about 30 seats. Slayers or M's and XM's both claims the Sardan Sajda is not mentioned in Quran. But isn't it part of Sunnah is evident from the Ka'b bin Ashraf and Asma bint Marwan episodes? Yes, Ka'b bin Ashraf, Asma bint Marwan, and Abu Afaq. These three instances stand out. And because they form the conduct of the Prophet, then they are as much valid as the Quran. Woke movies of Urdu are being rejected by public, given these Wahhabis will continue making them. Can't this vacuum be exploited by new players to cater to the larger audience and replace the status quo? I think they will still continue making it because there is an ecosystem that funds these movies. And the losses don't actually matter to them. So ultimately, one has to target that ecosystem, and that is where the role of the state comes in. Ultimately, while rejecting these woke movies, making them fail, spoiling their brand, we also have to put pressure on the government to take action against the money laundering that goes on. Money laundering that goes on. Uh, in funding of these movies. That needs to be targeted too. Meghadeep Maiti. So when next Deen Ki Dawat is coming? Very eager. Well, I don't think it's going to come very soon because there has been a family tragedy in one of the participants' family. So I think it's off for a pretty long time. Zende are born gamers, so can't find any updates on assumption and political and Gaza conflict का हम पे negative या positive effect explain in current and upcoming days. Gaza conflict का हमारे ऊपर तो I don't think we have anything to do with it. It's from time to time, we definitely find that our peaceful communities do get exercised upon it, and they may use it to express themselves, as the Panchamakkars call it. So that for that expression only it can be used, but as far as I think, it has no impact on us. Madhuri Vardhan, why we unable to prove ethics like Mahabharata and Ramayana? Some people are saying the bridge between Sri Lanka and India is not Ramasetu, is actually Tambolo. Is that correct? Well, the jury is still out on that. I can't say for definite what it is like, but definitely there is some merit in what is being said. Okay, next. Ortiz said, do you know English royal family is actually German? They were originally called House of Hanover or Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. What happened to the original English royal family? I've asked many British this. None of those idiots have any clue. Well, if you call them idiots because they don't have any clues, and I don't know what you'll call me because even I cannot tell you offhand. So that is something. I'm not an expert on British history. Uh, you will please excuse me for that. Karan Batra, Charan Sparsh Guruji, kindly do an episode on what is the Guru Shishya Parampara in Sanatana, who is an Acharya, Shikshaka, Guru, etc. We've done this episode with Sri Bharat Gupta. Uh, you can go to our Bharat Gupta episodes and you can find that. But definitely we will address it sometime. Next, Har Har Mahadev, sir, I am CA. Any service which I can give to JD, definitely we'll let you know if you require one. Metless, thank you. Brijesh, Ram Guruji, I will be giving UPSC mains next week. Best wishes, Brijesh. How much of the wisdom I have gathered through JD can I express in my answer? Well, whenever you do, please do with a caveat. Okay. You are in a better position in the sense that you know both sides of the coin. So, whenever you do, please mention both sides of the coin because we're still not sure mm, the ecosystem still belongs to the left. So, if you do not give both sides, you give only the side that JD has given you, then you might suffer. So, please give both sides. What, according to you, is the biggest mistake BJP Modi ji is committing which could ruin the victory 2024? The long rope to the jihadis, the cowardice that they're showing in the matter of things like CAA or Kashmir or general jihadi violence. That I think internal security basically. Internal security is a big Achilles heel. Sir, was Sati an unfortunate continuation of Jauhar? No. Please read Meenakshi Jan on Sati. Sati was a hoax that was an atrocity literature created by the British to beat India with and to justify imposition of British education on India. The incidents basically out of the distress that was caused by the British themselves. Next, Karan Batra, Pranam Guruji, kindly let us know how and where we can buy tickets to Jaipur Dialogues event. Well, you can go to the website. You'll get all the information. 15th of this month, we will be putting all the information and giving you the links after 15th. And we'll announce it. We'll announce it. Brijesh, your thoughts on obsession with government jobs? Today, private jobs are well paid, better promotions, even permanent remote work opportunities. Well, that obsession will continue for a while. That is because of government job basically gives you an opportunity to do free loading, and there isn't much stress on performance. People get in on very many consideration which have nothing to do with merit. So that is the problem, that a lot of people love the security that is involved with it. These are the combination of factors, and uh, yes, I agree that this trend of doing virtual work will probably in the long run make the private jobs more attractive. Next. Next, please. Abhay, this is my small contribution for your petitions in the court. You're a great warrior. Thank you, Abhayji. Thank you, Abhayji. And you definitely an inspiration. And all the people who are watching, well, this is the kind of inspiration we need from more and more people. Next. Shurveer program. Okay. So Shurveer team also working hard for strengthening of Sanatani economically. Please support for this cause too, as we have limited options. Thank you, Shurveer. Definitely we appeal. Next. Abhinav Tripathi, sir. I am in Punch, J&K right now. From past 2 days, आपकी वेबसाइट ब्राउज करने पे अकाउंट सस्पेंडेड दिखा रहा है. Are you aware of it? There's some technical hitch right now. Anonymous tracker, thank you, Ji. Jai Mahakal, sir. Please watch PPT of Jai Bhim, Jai Meme Terror on channel Dystopia to Reason. Done a wonderful job to expose neo Buddhist and mullahs. Thank you for the info. We will. Jai Bharat, Jai Punjab. Are any BJP, MP, MLA, JD, ST fans, followers? I have no idea. Definitely have no idea. हर हर महादेव सर. हमारे पूर्वजों ने वेस्ट पंजाब में बहुत लड़ाइयाँ लड़ी थीं, तो 1947 तक आते आते वहाँ मुस्लिम मेजॉरिटी में कैसे हुए? क्या वहाँ स्लो जिहाद चल रहा था? देखिए, ये बात जो है ये बिल्कुल सही आपकी है नहीं. वैसे तो लड़ाइयाँ तो लड़ी थी, लेकिन आप ये देखिए कि वो पूरा का पूरा जो क्षेत्र था वो लगातार मुसलमानों के अधिकार क्षेत्र में रहा 12वीं शताब्दी के बाद से. लगातार कोई समय ऐसा नहीं था जब वो नहीं था. तो इस कारण वहाँ पर ये सूफियों का बहुत आतंक था, और वहाँ पर अफगानियों ने बहुत लंबे समय तक राज किया. तो इनसे सबके प्रभाव के कारण वहाँ पर कन्वर्शन एक्टिविटीज़ बहुत अधिक रही हैं, और उस क्षेत्र में, पूरे क्षेत्र में 15% ही तो हिंदू थे. नेक्स्ट. अभिषेक तिवारी, प्रणाम सर। द्विपीठाश्वर शंकराचार्य श्री स्वरूपानंद जी सरस्वती आज समाधिस्थ हो गए सर, उनके बारे में आपके विचार। मैंने उनके बारे में बहुत अधिक अध्ययन नहीं किया है, तो मैं उनके बारे में विचार ज़्यादा नहीं दे पाऊंगा। भगवान उनकी आत्मा को शांति प्रदान करे और उन्हें सद्गति दे। आदित्य अय्यर, पाक आर्मी नारा ईमान तकवा जिहाद फी सबीलिल्लाह, but Hindus take march when Pak army school children die. Do these children go to Jannat as per Quran or Hadith? Also in Quran there is a thing like zimmi. Yes, it is there. 9.29. You can have a look. 9.29 specifically talks about taking jizya from the zimmis, and the Pact of Umar, the Zimma. That's where the term zimmi comes from. Uh, and of course, yes, Pak army is a jihadi army officially. आदित्य खन्ना, सर कूर्ग के छोटे नगर विरजपेट में गणपति विसर्जन, 10 गणपति की झांकियां, एक सावरकर की झांकी, एंग्री हनुमान के झंडे, डीजे पर हिंदुत्व प्रेरित गाने, 5 PM to 5 AM कार्यक्रम। छोटे नगर धर्म युद्ध में आगे हैं, बिल्कुल आगे हैं, बिल्कुल आगे। वैसे बड़े नगर भी बहुत पीछे नहीं है, कम से कम महाराष्ट्र में यदि आप देख लें तो इस बार जो गणेश चतुर्थी है वो उसका झांकी ही कुछ अलग ही प्रकृति की थी, और वो मुझे लगता है कि पिछले 2.5 साल का जो प्रताड़ना हुई है उसकी भी कोई प्रतिक्रिया है। नेक्स्ट, चरण स्पर्श गुरु जी, सनातन में विवाह के क्या मायने हैं? विवाह एक संस्कार है और वह एक जोड़ने का संस्कार है जी, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है भाई, वो संस्कार है और जन्म जन्म की एक यूनियन है, योग है। नेक्स्ट, सुरेश रुद्रगाउडर, संजय जी नमस्ते। नूपुर शर्मा और टी राजा सिंह को बीजेपी से इस्तीफा दिलाने से क्या बीजेपी को 2024 के इलेक्शन में इसकी भरपाई करनी पड़ेगी या नहीं? टू अर्ली मुझे लगता है। ये किया भी इन्होंने इसीलिए है कि इनको लगा कि साहब कि 2024 बहुत दूर है, इसलिए कुछ भी कर लो कोई अंतर नहीं पड़ता विशेष। नेक्स्ट, अमर अग्रवाल जी धन्यवाद, समीर जोशी जी धन्यवाद, श्री के जी धन्यवाद, मेटल बॉय धन्यवाद आपको। जॉय, वाई इंडिया स्टिल इन कॉमनवेल्थ कंट्रीज? आई थिंक जस्ट आउट ऑफ सम डिप्लोमेटिक नाइसिटी, नो अदर रीजन। Shiva Satya sir, what do you think will be GOI's stand in relation to 2PIL secularism? They will not reply. They will, I can guarantee you, they will file no reply. They will try and take adjournment. That's been their standard practice for last 8 years. Anything that is inconvenient to the Muslim side, and the Hindus are very passionate about it, all they do is defer, 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 delay, delay, delay. That really puts a question mark on their Hindutva credentials. They use Hindutva only for voting purposes. Uh, RD, sir, your contribution to Sanatan revival will become a case study someday. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the kind words. Next, Metal Boy, what is GI going to do to create their own think tanks like the West or Al Jazeera to set their own narrative to the world? Well, all they perfected is they perfected the art of elections, and beyond that, I don't think they're really bothered. Layer. Since the Lely trope on English translation not reliable, could you please explain Manusmriti 8.380 Rajat Brahmanam Manyat Sarvapapeshware Sthitam Rashtrodenam Bahi Kuryat Samagra Dhan Bhakshatam? Uh, Yes, saying that do not kill a Brahmin, but then you have to understand who is a Brahmin. When you say Brahmin, Vaishya, Shudra, then you take the English or the West given definition of their being born as Brahmins, or right? Then Manusmriti is concerned, Manusmriti is very clear that Brahminhood is acquired. It is you are that's not something that you're born with. Please read 10.65. Manusmriti 10.65. Shivam Goel. So please call Rajiv Malhotra and Pushpendra Kulshesh for Jaipur Dialogue Festival as well. Well, if Rajiv ji is around at that time, I will, but I don't think he's around. He's going back in October. Of course, Rajiv ji will be here to discuss his book, but that'll be done online. Pushpendra ji, I will try, but I cannot guarantee because he doesn't answer my calls. Uh, Uday Singh, USA, why shouldn't India pull out of Commonwealth athletics event forever to really come out of colonial mindset? After all, this event is played among all countries that were ruled by the English. Well, uh, I don't know. I think better thing would be to become the leader of the Commonwealth ourselves. That India should reverse colonize Britain. How's that an idea? Is that a good idea? Next, Slayer says Supreme Court again let off Prashant Bhushan of contempt after he tendered an apology. Rajiv ji says that it's difficult to find the who is at the center controlling the left. Can it at least be found with respect to India? Yes, it is very clear. Actually, they won't do anything to Prashant Bhushan. The reason being that Prashant Bhushan knows too much about their inner doings, and they have too many skeletons to hide. And that is why they are scared of Prashant Bhushan. That's why they don't want to do anything to Prashant Bhushan. But sir, one writer from Kerala has claimed the original Quran was written by Iraqi Malik Dinar in Kodangallur Mas, Kerala, India. I mean, all kind of fantastic claims keep coming. I don't think I have the capacity to respond to that. So, next. Sunday answer Assumption Islands. Are we stable now? Yes, we are stable. No threat. Slayer, so some Indian Bush Business Association has capitulated and issued apology with using bulldozer for Independence Day rally in the US. Bapu 2.0 Triptikaran effect reached global levels now. Well, what they have done is according to their the particular laws in those places. So I don't think we should reach too much into that. Next, हरदीप सिंह दीक्षित सर से क्वेश्चन है कि हमारे देश में अभी भी आईपीसी की धारा चलन में है, क्या ये भी एक पक्का इंडिकेशन है कि हमारी कंट्री सही में फ्री नहीं हुई है? आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट साइकोलॉजिकली बट इन रियलिटी. तो भाई आईपीसी तो भारत के संविधान ने अडॉप्ट किया ना. आईपीसी इंडियन पीनल कोड जो था वो ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट का बनाया हुआ जरूर था, लेकिन वो भारत ने अडॉप्ट किया इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन थ्रू आर्टिकल 373. तो इसलिए वो तो भारत का ही लॉ है, उसमें तो ऐसी कोई बात मैं नहीं देखता. Pasha K, I'm based in Canada in a tiny province of PEI with population of 125k total. We have two mosques, Buddhist monastery, a gurudwara, and no temples. The same is the case with New Brunswick. Interesting, but I think the community should be doing something about it. There. So Madras Kotha asked Hindus to take permission from local Jamaat for conducting Ganesh Puja in Muslim area. Have we reached a point of irreversible change? No, it isn't like that. I think people have not read the judgment. The petition claimed that they already have the permission. So what they said was that if they have the permission, then why stop them? They said that even the Muslims are going to celebrate it, and Muslims have no objection because they're themselves going to celebrate it. In their judgment, maybe a little bit of a language problem, but then that's exactly what they said. But people these days, they outrage for anything, and they outrage without even reading the judgment. And this is very common with the court judgments. People don't read the judgments and they start outraging because there's some report has come, or some newspaper has given some slanted version. Or even if they give an accurate version, they do not understand the law sometime. They just start outraging. That wasn't the judgment. Hardcore Sanatani. Okay, hardcore. Interesting. Jai Shri Ram sir, is Chanakya Niti inspired by Bhagavad Gita? It is inspired by our Shastras. As Chanakya Niti says, in fact, the Arthashastra says that the Raj Dharma is comprised of four elements, and that is Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki means Mimansa or analysis or research or what is called uh, solid, I should say, you can say scientific evidence. Anvikshiki. Trai is Vedas. Vedas were originally three. They're called threes. Anvikshaki, Trai, Varta. Varta is trade. Chanakya Niti, Varta means trade. And Varta and Dandaniti. Next. There, there is the Muruga Amat Seer case report of the Shankaracharya arrest is Maino's regime. He seems to have prophesied that Pappo will become PM in 2024. I haven't read that prophecy. And all these prophecies don't come true. That's the good thing about it. Okay. That's the best thing about these things. They don't come true. Kalpesh Pancholi. Excellent work, Sanjay ji. Mahadev, Mahadev. Har Har Mahadev. Slayer. Sir, Sheikh Hasina is coming to visit Ajmer Sharif. Already visited. Does she also belong to the Barelvi Sufi sect and hence the solidarity with Sultan Sajuda pioneers? Yes, I mean, most Bangladeshis are Barelvi Sufis, mainly Sohrawardis and Chishtis, some Qadris. Next. Vedantvi, sir, why have you put Kannada in your Twitter account username? Because that's my aspiration to learn Kannada. Next. Nitish K. So your views on Asma Khan Pathan and lowering of national flag for Queen's mourning. George is British, but Queen is Hindu Hridaya Samrat. I think we keep uh, this half mast for a number of international leaders, so I don't see any reason for not doing it for Queen of Britain. After all, they are very good friends. Whatever the colonial past. Asma Khan Pathan, well, the usual Al Taqiyya. Shameless Bollywood is laughing despite flop movies as they created a distorted versions on record. Can we not crowdfund for genuine Indian movies? Oh, they are actually crying because for keeping the charade going, they have to spend even more. So they aren't really laughing. They're actually crying, but then they're showing a laughing face to you. Next. Why don't the ED inspect, investigate, inquire the so-called judiciary? Cannot do it. The law doesn't permit it, and the law is made by the judiciary. Why doesn't the right wing capitalize on the brilliant minds like CXOs settle abroad to create a narrative? Well, we are creating a narrative, slowly going about it. Not as maybe not at the speed that you might like, but then try and compare it with what it was 5 years back, and then try and compare it what it was 10 years back. Next, players. What really transpired between Yatiji and Wasim Rizvi and has the Jamaat party successfully sabotaged the Gyanvapi movement, which these two would have started? Yes, they have sabotaged it. They have deliberately sabotaged it. Absolutely. They are the guilty party in this. I get conflicting reports about Brahma's movie collection. Is it a hit or a flop movie? Well, it can be a hit once you claim 410, then you have put in about 40, 50 crores in buying tickets in advance. Then, unless you collect 500 crores, you're a flop. And there's no way it's going to collect 500 crores, in spite of all the fake claims. Most of the claims that are coming are all fake. Clear. So, can 295A be altered to remove the state action and make it a case between two agreed parties with provision for jail terms? And with this change help in countering the Sartan Sajda humanists, since Hindus only take protest marches when our gods are disrespected. I don't think that's a very good idea. It's not a very good idea because a lot of people do not have that wherewithal. Next. Jai Bharat, Jai Punjab, IAS or JD face, which is bigger fame for STG? That's for you to tell, not for me. Shivam, Namaskar. Shri Sanjay Gurudev, Aapko Naman. Why BJP is pressing VHP and Bajrang Dal nowadays? I think we need a Bhairav Sena. Can JD invite Ashin Viratu virtually? Good idea, Shivam. Let's try. Let's try this. Next. Slayer. NCRB data states that nearly 30,000 women have been abducted for forced marriages. And though I don't want to think of the words, but it reminds of similar things which started to happen in the 1920s preceding partition. Well, that's inadequate data because we don't know to what religion they belong. And the forceful abduction happens within the peaceful community also a lot. So I don't think we can reach any conclusion with this. अविनाश प्रणाम संजय जी मेरा स्वभाव थोड़ा खोजी और विश्लेषणात्मक है मुझे सनातन धर्म की किस पुस्तक से अध्ययन आरंभ करना चाहिए भारत सदैव आपका आभारी रहेगा तो आप इतिहास से आरंभ करें महाभारत पढ़ना शुरू करें नेक्स्ट वैभव पुष्पेंद्र जी दोबारा अपने चैनल पे लाएं आप कृपया पुष्पेंद्र जी से ही कहें कि पुष्पेंद्र जी जब संजय जी आपको कोई मैसेज दें या कोई आपको फ़ोन करें तो कृपया उसका उत्तर दे दें ये आप पुष्पेंद्र जी से बोलिए मुझसे सभी लोग बोलते हैं लेकिन पुष्पेंद्र जी से लगता कोई नहीं बोल रहा है आशीष गोहतरी मूवमेंट नीडेड टू गेट टेम्पल्स बैक यूज फॉर हिंदूज yes that movement is already on and the movement is quite strong that movement is quite strong next long time no show with Tufail ji. Well, Tufail ji is having some personal problems. He'll be out of action sometime. Sainath, population control bill, uniform civil code, possible. Both possible, but I do not favor the population control bill. But uniform civil code, yes, with conditions attached. Most people do not seem to understand what it entails. That's a problem. Next, Samanya Bharatiya. Samanya Bharatiya. Hello. सामान्य भारतीय 100% अनिवार्य वोटिंग भारत में आपके विचार नॉट नेसेसरी what we are getting 60-70% is better than most countries next सिंघानिया सिनेमा हॉल चित्रालय को मूत्रालय बना दो हिंदू वालों 5,000 रुपए टिकट लेकर खान कपूर देवगन भट्ट की फोटोज पे मूत्र विसर्जन करें ओके आई मीन I am not enjoying this joke it's a PJ वेल वर्षा कुलकर्णी, थैंक यू जी, धन्यवाद। हर हर महादेव। सर, महाराजा रंजीत सिंह राज में जिहाद कैसे बढ़ा? वो तो ये बरेलवी गया था वहाँ पे, ये सैयद अहमद बरेलवी, इसने जाके वहाँ पे सब नाटक किया था, तो उसको तो मार दिया था, मार के जला के उसको, उसकी राख जो थी चारों तरफ विसर्जित कर दी थी। नेक्स्ट। हिंदुओं में जाति व्यवस्था विभाजन का मुख्य कारण है? ना ना, मुख्य कारण तो लेफ्टिस्ट और जो ब्रिटिश नैरेटिव है वो है। जाति ने तो भारत को जोड़ के रखा है बहुत अधिक समय तक। उसके बाद ब्रिटिश ने जो है ये हमको समझा दिया कि साहब ये जाति जो है वो मुख्य कारण है, कुछ ऐसा है। तो ये हमें फिर से इसको देखना पड़ेगा। पाशा जी, Namo's statement on Russian ties, and we have disengagement at PP.15. Any correlation? Not really. The Russians are in no position to influence the Chinese. They are dependent on the Chinese these days. Next. Jai Shri Ram, can you please bring True Indology Bharadwaj for any of the discussions of Jaipur Dialogues YouTube channel? I don't know who he is. How can I bring someone who is anonymous? How to remove slave mindset of Modi and top leaders. Continue pressurizing. Next, Rudra Tripathi. Poonam sir, your comment, Modi ji's new founder, Guru Abbas. अब अब्बास की तो बात ही और है साहब, तो हम क्या कह सकते हैं, अब्बास की बात और है। नेक्स्ट। नेक्स्ट, बांग्लादेशी अभी तक कैसे इन्फिल्ट्रेट कर रहे हैं सर? आई थिंक आवर security architecture and inability of the central government to force the West Bengal government to let the fencing happen. They have not really given them even a warning. They have not given them the constitutional instructions that they can. So I think central government is equally responsible. Next, Chuck Oper. Propagandize misery of Pakistan cause of Islam, thus shaking their faith, whereas India is successful due to its Sanatan values. They should work, use. If you go to the Pakistani channels these days, that's exactly what they're saying all the time. So, in fact, Pakistanis are saying what you are wanting to say. Even they are fed up of their deep inversion. Next, Slayer, sir, the Dalit and tribal converts demanding SCST status argues that what God they pray to is personal, while their social status remain. Then why did they convert? Because those religions they claim that there is no caste, and that is the trope that they have utilized to convert them. They can't have it both ways. Next. गौरव, नमस्ते सर। गांधी जी की हरिजन पत्रिका के विषय में आपके क्या विचार है, क्योंकि आज वामन मेश्राम और मिशनरी तथा कम्युनिस्ट जो बातें कर रहे हैं उनकी छाया वहाँ भी है। अब हम क्या कहें, गांधी जी के विचार तो हर तरह के विचार हैं, कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी हैं, अजीब अजीब हैं, अजीबो गरीब हैं, तो ये उसको सिलेक्टिवली निकाल के यूज करते हैं। अब सिलेक्टिवली निकाल के यूज करते हैं तो फिर तो और क्या करें। नेक्स्ट। There, sir, just like you are doing series on Sant Gyaneshwar, Tukaram and others, please do a similar series on Panchasakha of Vaishnava tradition of East, Chitananda Das, Ananta Das, Yashwanta Das, Jagannath Das, and Balaram Das. The good idea, but I don't have a resource for that. As far as the Maharashtra saints are concerned, Nilesh Oak is a great resource, but for them, I don't have a resource. A resource who can talk the modern language also. Pasha K. The Western Middle East will not let Suvaristan collapse. A Muslim country fails and the Brotherhood fails. Yes, yes, yes. That's been their attitude right since the beginning. Right since the beginning. Next. Madhuri Vardhan, Dikshji, why can't we free Hindu temples from government and make a petition in Supreme Court? Already petitions pending in the Supreme Court. And it's a legal issue because the government is not making a legislation, and the state governments who are having those state legislations, they don't want to let go. So basically, it's public versus the government. Slayers are an earnest request. Please invite Dr. Gautam Sain, columnist in Swaraj P. Gurus, to discuss chilling details of the ongoing persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh. Okay, but we have discussed it a couple of times. Tathagat Roy ji had come, and uh, I think more episodes can be done with him. Shiva Satya. So, what do you think of India-China disengagement? Well, Chinese have got pressurized and moved back, and probably they don't want a two-front situation because the other front is going to open up in Taiwan very soon. Metal Boy. Why don't Hindus challenge Hindu Marriage Act against single marriage, or why don't we challenge polygamy? It was challenged, it was unsuccessful. So that's settled law now. Next. Rishabh, Bollywood has brainwashed generations in India. What does it teach? Lafanga Giri, Ashiqi, girlfriend, boyfriend crap. The elder generation is responsible for making Bollywood so big. Kishore, Rafi Bachchan, all pathetic. That's why Bollywood never made it internationally, unlike Korean or Japan, because it's cringe. I am 100% with you. I am 100% with you on this. Next. I was watching Shaurya Divas, Shivam, December 6 video with Tufalji. It's worth watching 1000 times. Waiting for Kashi Mathura, but no one is leading it. Why? We are all leading it. That's also the virtual lead, which is very important. Yes, is in accordance to Mahabharata. Where should we draw the line about when should we forgive someone and when should we take revenge if someone has wronged us? After the attempts at reconciliations are exhausted, you must try reconciliation. But once the attempts are exhausted, then you must go for it. Next, Sunil S. Sir, why mature, educated Muslims still advocate for radical incidents? Even everyone know which religion is attached to terrorism because it's there in the book. Plain reading of the book actually can give you that idea, that suggestion. That's what it is. Next, Madhuri Vardhan, if we really had a technology in Puranas and ethics, why can't we invent technology and why we are poor in technology compared to other developing countries? Well, a lot of our knowledge was taken away. A lot of our knowledge, our institutions were burnt up. Next, Life is James. Dharma production is claiming their rubbish film to be a super hit, but 90% audience reaction is pathetic. What is your take? It's a huge flop. It's a super flop. श्रीमंत दास संजय जी कल से 500 डेसिबल दूर जाऊंगा साइकिल से और 50 गीगा बाइट प्याज खरीदूंगा फिर 25 लीटर का कपड़ा खरीदूंगा उसके बाद 11 किलोमीटर लीटर कोल्ड ड्रिंक खरीदूंगा क्या कहते हो आप बहुत सही है बहुत सही है ये डेसिबल वाला जो था वो मेरे नैरेटिव में अभी तक नहीं आया था ये भी आपने यूज़ किया इसको भी यूज़ करूंगा ये डेसिबल भी यूज़ करूंगा और मुझे लगता है वो रेक्टर स्केल वाला भी यूज़ करना पड़ेगा Hardcore Sanatani, what do you think about Modi's return in 2024? Is Raga. So looks like he's coming back as per today's evidence. Simanta Das, Amir, Simanta Das, आमिर मियाँ को थोड़ा कम गाली दीजिए, किसकी मजहब से ही तो मलेरिया फैलता है ना, धर्म तो मुक्ति दिलाता है. अच्छा जी, धन्यवाद फॉर योर सजेशन. Art care Sanatani, with recent Hindu awakening in Bharat, we still have so many Hindus who defend Urdu would. Congress, Jhadu and others. I wonder why are not they concerned and pained by what's being conspired against Hindus and Hinduism? How and what will it take to awaken? Continue on this path. It's a slow and but sure path. Maybe slow, but it is sure. सीमंतदा धर्मा प्रोडक्शन नाम रखने से तो मजहबी प्रोडक्शंस रखो, से नौटंकी काहे करते हो. बिल्कुल सही बोले आप, बिल्कुल सही बोले. ज्ञान एस्ट्रोलॉजी says I'll get 3 big opportunities in my life. I've got 2 and waiting for the third. No, it's not said by astrology. It is said by some astrologer, and I don't put great store by the astrologers because too many, I should say, ignorant astrologers and fake astrologers going around. Saur Jyoti, I live in Sikkim, and most people here are brainwashed by convent schools and English literature. They look down upon those who take pride in Sanatan Dharma. What is the permanent solution to this? Narrative, narrative, and more narrative. Next, Samantha Das, Narayan Tatti, Bollywood, Gu Akbar. Okay, okay, okay. You're coming up with some brilliant ones today. पाशा के याकूब ग्रेव डेकोरेटेड, ये सिर्फ भारत में हो रहा है विद द सो कॉल्ड हिंदू नेशनलिस्ट पार्टी विद मेजॉरिटी इन सेंटर. But it was done by the MVA, under the MVA, with their active connivance. Next, Karan, why you don't support population control bill? No, because it cannot be implemented. It is unimplementable and it will be implemented only against the Hindus. My point was they eventually make money and TVs will keep showing these movies. We need to create record of correct history. It's coming, it's coming. It can't go on indefinitely like this. Uh, India. So how was justice system in Hindu kingdoms and empires? Was it swift and quick that with a punishment for thefts, disrespecting women, etc.? They were severe, not so draconian as in the Islamic countries, but they were quite severe. Next, Pasha K. Pasha K, do you think Ghulam number 2 change anything about his ideology? Who's Ghulam number 2? Next. Jai Bharat, Jai Punjab, salute your contribution, the 1991 Worship Act at SC. Thank you very much. And we need more support from you to continue on this path. Pasha K. NS didn't say anything what is not written in the book, but how is Akbaruddin Owaisi getting away with his hate speeches? Well, mob power. All about mob power. And the state has been complicit as far as Telangana is concerned. हर हर महादेव. सर, महाराजा रंजीत सिंह जी की वीरता और प्रयासों के बाद भी हमने 1/3 भू खो दिया, तो कमी हमारी स्ट्रेटजी में है. हम दुश्मन के घर में अटैक करना चाहिए. नॉट एग्जैक्टली दिस. ये 100% इस तरह से नहीं है. इसमें और भी चीज़ें हैं, बहुत सारी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड क्वेश्चन है. प्रॉब्ली इट रिक्वायर्स ग्रेटर डिस्कशन. एक इतनी जल्दी नहीं हो पाएगा. इस पे एक पूरा सेशन कभी करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हमारे हिंदू राजाओं ने कभी घर वापसी का प्रयास नहीं किया, और अ, कभी जो है वो इनकी जो घृणा वाली जो विचारधारा है उस पर रोक नहीं लगाई. यही कारण है. बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठियों पर मोदी सरकार चुप क्यों है? वो तो सभी में चुप रहती है. उनको बोलते कब सुना आपने इन मैटर्स पे? इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी मैटर्स पे कभी बोलते सुना क्या? नो क्रैकडाउन ऑन FPFI एट पाशा के। ये ऐसा कैसे रिलीजन है कि यू नीड लाउड स्पीकर्स टू कॉल पीपल एंड कम एंड प्रे इन वन रिलीजन एंड टेरर अ मेनेस टू द वर्ल्ड? ऐसे ही तो इन्होंने बढ़ाया है. This is what Dr. Ambedkar called that Muslim politics is the gangsters method of politics. So they employ gangsters method. I am not saying this. Dr. Ambedkar said this. Hardcore Sanatani, is it time to boycott the brands endorsed by Urduwood and Ashanti? Those I personally have started. Yes, I agree. I agree. Next. Vedanta V, there is a propaganda going on that Tamil was given a classical language status by British. What is your take on it? It's a classical language. It's definitely a classical language. Tamil is a classical language. There's nothing wrong with it. Uh, Comparisons can be odious. Hardcore Sanatani. Sudhanshu Chaturvedi said it very rightly about Raga's Bharat Jodo Yatra. That this yatra is opposition Jodo and showing power to the Mahagathbandhan that the opposition PM candidate will be Raga. What do you think? Yes. 100%. This is to uh, establish supremacy among the opposition and ward off challenges from people like Nitish and KCR and things. Next. Swastik, what is the truth of thousand eyes of Indra? And see, when you read Puranas, please do not read them literally. Thousand eyes only means that he has a system, or he has a well-oiled spy system that can see everywhere. Next, hardcore Sanatani. Lately, Urdu Wood is bringing in South Stars and Hindi movies just to make them the complex, so South Stars don't get the appreciation they got this year, not being part of the film. What do you think? I agree with you. You're right. Next, Abhijit sir, about the Ujjain temple issue, won't this be a case of temple entry banned by mob because of someone's eating habit? AIM said you cannot just ban people entry by mob because it will be slippery slope. Of course we can ban. And we are not going to go to their worship places. So it doesn't matter. Regi Pillai Guruji Pranam. I was Sahil Bhai, Adam Seeker, Munna Bhai, Koram, Apostate Imam, and others. I watched live stream of Adam Seeker yesterday. There were so many on the stream, including me, who were requesting Adam and Sahil to come on JD. So glad that they finally made it, and hope they keep coming again and again. Till this Dharma Yudh is concluded, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ki jai. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ki jai. Next. Guruji Pranam, any update on the audiobook version of Unbreaking India? No update. Vijit, your view on why cricket team is giving pathetic performance nowadays? Overconfidence. Next. Vijit, how to differentiate between hypocrisy and evolution of thoughts? For example, we have people who were communists and then turned over new leaf. Well, it's a mixed bag. You have to check it case by case. I cannot give you a universal formula. Regi Pillai, what is the nonsense about Sita Mayya's age during marriage that most mullahs talk about? That is absolute nonsense. Mullahs, have they ever talked anything except nonsense? Abhijit, regarding Karna, there is an argument. He lied about his Varna to learn from Parashuram, but if he did not lie, then Parashuram would not have taught him because he would not teach Kshatriyas. It's not that. He would have taught him. Please read my book, Krishna Yogeshwar. He would have taught him if he had become a Brahmin. Becoming a Brahmin was very much possible in the Mahabharata age. It's there in Mahabharata. You can become a Brahmin. But that would have taken him a long time. And he was impatient, so he lied. And that's why he suffered. All his suffering was because of that impatience. Sunil S., Why mature, educated Muslims still advocate for radical incidents, even everyone know which religion is attached to terrorism? Well, they all follow the book. If you follow the book, then you have to follow the book to the hilt. There is no following in part. Next, Rag, Raghavendra. Pranam Guruji, what was the compulsion on PVNR to have draconian laws? Oh, vote, vote, and vote. He took inspiration and instruction from Muslim Personal Law Board, Jamaat Islami, Jamaat Ulama Hind, and such people. Akhilesh Sanjay, is Islam equal to Vaishnavism? ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada say so. No, they are not. They do so only for, I think, propaganda purposes. Next. Next. GK. Sir, would you be making a show with Mr. Rangaraj Narasimhan and Mr. T.R. Ramesh, who have been fighting? But we have done it in the past. Can do it again, no problems. Next. Ghulam Nabi Azad number 2. Will his ideology ever change? No, it will not. Whatever else he does is just play acting. Is Islam anti-modern, like no women rights, no any new governance, no science and tech? Absolutely, you got it. You're absolutely right. साइनात इलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स को वापस क्यों नहीं भेजते? भाई साहब, इसका कोई उपाय नहीं है। बड़े दो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, मोदी जी, शाह जी, कोई नहीं जानता है इस दुनिया में, भगवान भी नहीं जानते। Sneezes the way they are after Nupur Sharma, Salman Rushdie doesn't show bulk of them are some are terrorists, some are sympathizers. Next, next. एम के स्थावर तीर्थ और जंगम तीर्थ में फर्क आप अच्छी तरह जानते हो। आप संबोधनों में स्थावर तीर्थों को जितना महत्व देते हैं उतना जंगम तीर्थों को नहीं देते। हाँ जी, हाँ, ठीक है, आप कह रहे हैं, आपकी बात से मैं सहमत हूँ। स्वस्तिक, व्हाट इज द ट्रूथ ऑफ थाउजेंड आइज ऑलरेडी डन। Swastik and Bulle Shah be an exception and be an actual peaceful and spiritual Sufi? Yes, probably, probably. Like a lot of he was himself called kafir only for that reason. Next. यादवान प्रणाम सर जी, नेहरू ने एडविना की डेथ पर संसद भवन में श्रद्धांजलि दी थी। माउंट बैटन के फ्यूनरल में इंडियन आर्मी का डेथ पर डेलीगेशन भेज दिया था। अरे, जहाज भेज दिया था हमारा। झंडा झुका रही है, नहीं, ये तो अलग चीज है। लॉट ऑफ फॉरेन डिग्निटरीज आर गिवन दिस ऑनर, सो नथिंग अनयूजुअल। नेक्स्ट. Regi Pillai, Guruji, is it true that your episode with Adam Seeker was blocked in Pakistan? No, not that one. One earlier one. Is Islam peaceful? That episode. But not with Adam Seeker. That was with Sahil and Sachwala ji. Regi Pillai, Guruji, is it pragmatic to be part of conflicting groups like SCO and Quad? Yes, yes, yes. No problems. Mishti, why some people emphasize to normalize beef eating among Hindus? Well, you have crackpots everywhere. So I think no, do not bother too much. Next. Northeast, common practice and people, while giving example of Kerala, Northeast and Bali in few places. Is it true Swami Vivekanand supported beef eating? Well, unless I know the context, it doesn't, even if he said it once or twice here, there, that would have been in a context. They also accused Abramization of Hinduism and against versatility to those who oppose its consumption as a Hindu. Yes. Satish, namaste, sir. Anything happening on getting the Hindu temples back from government? Yes, a lot of petitions there, and then they're coming up. this very week, I think, in the Supreme Court. Next, JK JNK judge ruled assembling for funeral of terrorist is not anti-national. Anything can happen in JNK. Next, highlighting halal certification on every package is needed for everyone to make informed decision. That we have been trying to do, and a lot of people have to come together to further it. Next, Pranam Sanjay ji, two different questions. What will be the impact of the new king in UK over world politics? Zero. How to contribute to JD? Offline. Meet up. Sponsorship. You can sponsor the sessions. Next. Ame Gate. There is some Khalistan referendum in Brampton, Ontario, Canada on 18 September. Is this something to... No, no, no. There's nothing to worry about. It's all nonsense that they can keep doing. How does the military external affairs not prevent? Why should we prevent it? Somebody wants to hold a referendum for Khalistan in Brampton. Let them make a Khalistan in Brampton. How does it matter to us? Jai Vikram Singh Verma, Pranam Sanjay ji, two different questions. What will be the... this is done. This question is done, sir. You can chat on the WhatsApp, Jai Vikram Singh. With that, we come to the end of the session. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. So we need audiobook version of your books. Yes, yes, we'll think about it. Thank you. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.